What is up, guys? This is Linthio coming at you with a debut deck profile of my counter fairies. Now, I did do this for the March format just before the ban list was announced, and I've had to redo it because of certain card changes. Sorry for hitting the camera. So this is basically the debut deck again, I guess, but you never saw it, so I had to delete it from YouTube. So to start it off, we have the 3 Bountiful Armades. This is the main card in the deck. It's basically when anytime a counter trap's activated, even during the chain, once it resolves, draw a card. So it's the key part of the deck, the easiest way to gain your advantage, and you know, you want to see this as early as possible because obviously you play lots of counter traps. The deck's really fun, and obviously the slight problem is that it has to revolve around this, and you know, 16 attack and 17 defense isn't actually that big, so that's a slight problem, but we do address that in the actual deck, as you will see. Then we have Dark Dragon Lord. This is here because obviously he's one of your main beaters, or he is your main beater basically. And it's just really interesting to watch your opponent's reaction when he's actually summoned, because a lot of people just really don't see it coming, if I'm completely honest. The card is just really good, and don't forget it has to interact with an opponent's effect in some way, shape or form, kind of. So you can't do things like I don't know, drastic drop-off doesn't work with it because you're not negating anything in particular. It has to be a monster, a spell, or a trap card that you're kind of negating and such. So, but he's still a really important card. You just need to remember the rulings on him. And to add a bit of a, you know, fire and spice to the deck, we have 2 fire and 2 ice hands. This is here just for kind of monster removal and back row removal. Don't play any MSTs, as you will see, but the cards are just really great in the deck. It really works out for me, and I really enjoy running them. I don't really like running 3 and 3 because it just opens up the possibility of drawing multiple copies in your opening hand, and when that happens, it's a very sad, sad day. Then we have 2 Card D. This is here just for kind of speed. Because of the amount of back row that you do play, you can afford to kind of just set some and do a card D just to try and search for the Bountiful. So yeah, it is really, really nice card. In here, I only play it at 2 because the space is tight and it gets cloggy. Final monster is Thunder King Ryo. This is here because, you know, it is a stun deck, and Thunder King works great because you can do the really scummy play of set 4 and summon Thunder King, which is obviously a nightmare for a lot of decks, especially in the cloths. You summon this against them with supporting back row, they're not going to have a very nice day. So that is a great card for the deck. Consistency, we have the 3 Pot of Duality. You never special summon, really. The only time you special summon is with the hands and with the Dark Dragon Lord, but you can play around that. You don't have to, you know, summon on the turn that you've done this. So the card's just really great. It's just about using it at the right time and such. And yeah, Pot of Duality just really helps with the consistency and digging for the key cards that you want. 1 Regeki just to remove any annoying monsters. As I said, Bountiful is weak, and being able to have some monster destruction is good. I was thinking of running 2 Dark Hole as well for monster removal, but I'm currently testing it out, and it's being a bit meh, to be honest. So this is the profile that I'm happiest with the most. And then low spell count, the final one is 1 Day Peace. This is here just for a little bit of stalling tactics. If I don't feel comfortable summoning the Armades, I want to be able to, not Armades, you know what I mean, Bountiful. I want to be able to just feel protected, and it just means that I'm not going to get OTK'd in that turn. Going on to the traps, and we have a lot of them. We have 3 Divine Wrath. This card is absolutely incredible in the deck, especially with Bountiful out, simply because the card doesn't really have a cost at the end of the day. I know technically it does have a cost. You do have to have a card to discard, but the fact that you will draw straight away once it resolves just means that, you know, that neg that you have for discarding doesn't really exist. So yeah, it's a really solid card in the deck. Then we have the 3 Mirror Force. As I said, we want to protect our Bountiful as much as possible, and being able to have 3 Mirror Force is quite key. A lot of people don't really expect 3, so they can get quite complacent when you've played 1 or 2 maybe, but yeah, the 3rd one is normally always a sucker punch, and if you do have to resort to a 3rd Mirror Force, then it's going really well for you. 3 Dark Bribe. I did have this at 2 in the previous list before it got hit, but now with you know, loads of different cards running around. Dark Bribe's really important. I don't have any MSTs in here, so I want to be able to make sure I can stop any spell or trap cards that are happening. And I know that technically Dark Bribe is a bad card outside of anything like this. It just means that while your opponent draws, you also draw as well. So it kind of negates the fact that they're getting an extra card because you're also drawing. And it's kind of just a 1-for-1 at the end of the day once you have Bountiful out. 2 Drastic Drop Off, really like this card because it also works when your opponent searches a card, so you can play it quite, you know, quite cleverly. It's a great word there. Congratulations, Will. So yeah, it's better than its little brother Drastic Drop Off. It's better than Drop Off, and also Drop Off is in the counter trap. So much better card to my opinion, and yeah, it works out just amazingly well. I would consider a third one in the side depending on what deck my opponent is playing. If they're playing something searching heavy and it doesn't have any interaction with the graveyard, then it will work out well. 2 Wiretap, great card, great addition to the deck really. I know Wiretap's been out for a while, but when the deck was kind of played back in 2008 or something, 2011, even 2011 is a stretch. We didn't have this, and Wiretap's just a really great card for the actual deck. So yeah, it works out well, and you can side more if you go against the heavier back row deck. 2 Debunk, I did have it at 1 beforehand, and now I have it at 2, because if you just think of the Cloth match, it's just so good. If you can hit one of their Brios with this, it's just so good. And if your opponent, has the Valk and they activate the Valk in hands, you don't really need to negate it with Debunk unless you're going for actual game. So you want to hit the big ones like Brio with this, and you can always side more. But just in general, it's really good against things like Burning Abyss and such. So yeah, really solid card. 2 Black Corner Heaven. Card's really good again, but you need to be wary with this because obviously it doesn't really work against Cloth format, Cloth deck, unless you hit one of the Xyzs. Maybe if they're going for the special summon lock, you can hit the Larval Chain, but other than that, you can't do it, so you would side these out. But against any other decks, this is absolutely amazing, and it would even be so much that I would side another, just because against that one matchup, it's not that great, but it's very powerful against others. 2D Prison, again, this is just to protect the Bountiful. Doesn't really need to say much about it, if I'm completely honest. The 1 Newly Limited Vanities here just for some control. The card's still really good, and it's just one of those that I feel that should probably just be played, in every deck. If you can utilize it. 1 Magic Drain. Now, some people might say, if you're kind of a veteran to this deck, you might say, well, you're an idiot. You should be running more Magic Drain. Yes, but the problem is that with the Cloth matchup, them discarding a spell is not a problem, and I'd much rather have something like Dark Bribe to actually stop that draw. Magic Drain's great against other decks, so if you do feel more comfortable, if you do prefer it, you can side it, or you can even main another one if you so wish instead of the Debunk. But personally, with testing and such, Magic Drain is not as good anymore, but it's still a fairly good card, but it's lost a bit of its potency. The 1 Compulsory Activation Device just to protect your Armades, and then finally the 40th card is the 1 Solemn Warning, because this deck did take a hit when Solemn went to 2, Solemn went to 1, and Judgment got banned. So it's still a great card in here because even though you do pay the 2,000 life points, you do get to draw a card as long as assuming Bountiful is out. Going on to the extra deck, this is just a kind of a random rank 4 extra deck because if I'm completely honest, you hardly ever go into it unless you're in a dire situation. But yeah, so we have my choices are the 1 Larval Chain, the 1 Exciton Knight, the 1 Diamond Direwolf in case you just need to kind of remove any annoying cards, the 1 Emerald in case you would like to recycle your hands back into the deck just for extra annoyingness for your opponent, the 1 Silent Honor Arc, great card, the 1 Omega, again this is just random, you can only do it really with 2 of the Thunder King and the Armades. Sorry, the Bountiful. The 1 Utopia, this is actually pretty important, for keeping your Bountiful alive. Don't know why I keep saying Armades. the 1 Paladynamo, solid cards. As I said, like 1 Rhapsody and Berserk. Is Rhapsody? Yeah, Rhapsody. A couple of times I've said Bohemian Rhapsody, because I'm too cool like that. Queen fan and all. The 1 Kargon, the 1 Castell. Again, this is just standard stuff. Cowboy, Dweller, Crazy Box, and finally the 1 Fairy Cheer Girl, just as a just to round it off, basically. But that is it. I hope you did enjoy the deck profile. This is, as I said, a different deck that I'm testing out. Now that Herald's gone, I want to kind of look into other fairy decks that I've wanted to play for a while, and this is one that I've been a real fan of because it's just such a fun deck for me. Really do enjoy playing it. So yeah, that is it. So hopefully I can get some, like, you know, dual videos, or maybe bring it to locals one week just to see how it goes. But locals is difficult for me to get to currently because I'm just so busy. But as I said, that is it, guys. I hope you did enjoy the deck profile. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the deck. Like, comment, subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.